Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Where are you at today, Derek?
I am in Houston right now. So it's actually been getting a little chilly this week. So wearing my jacket, got a little heater on. So it's been but Houston we get cold for like 1 week and then back to heat.
Yes.
So
Well, it's interesting because I woke up this morning to a balmy, warm, -4 degrees. And my friends are in Miami and it's like 70 degrees down there and going to be 80 today. So just been it's interesting that you can have a country where you're 80 degrees apart from people in the same country. In the same day. So where just real quick before we kind of get going to where is Heritage based out of? Like where is it incorporated?
yeah, so our license is actually held in South Dakota, and it's purposely held in South Dakota because that's actually where most banking institutions will hold that aspect. Okay, little backstory if you're familiar with a lot of other institutions, almost every other self-directed IRA institution's license is either held in Kansas or South Dakota. It's one of the two. Quest was the only one that actually fought and held it in Texas. So,
And that was a problem, wasn't it?
yeah, well, it happens.
All right, all right, all right. All right, we'll wait a minute or two for some more people to jump in. Normally, a bunch of people jump in right here in the first couple minutes. There we go. Some more people hopping on.
I see a lot of people with their note takers out there,
People have note takers now. It's the new age thing here.
right? What's funny is I try to use it and then I realized I never went back and really read those notes. It's
I
just
know.
too much, and it's I get better from either just paying attention or taking my own notes and just use some key bullet points. But
Yeah, the note takers are really good to have for your meetings, like for your company meetings and such, quarterly meetings and yearly meetings and all that kind of stuff. That's been the best use for us at least. Good morning, Jim. I see you over there. You might have to mute yourself there. So everybody is muted right now. We do allow you
Great
guys
to
to
see
unmute.
everybody. How
Yeah,
are you?
I was just telling Derek, it's a balmy -4 degrees here in Northwest Indiana. So
Beautiful.
and I was just talking to a buddy of mine in Miami, and he said it's going to be 85 today in Miami. And I was like, how can it be a difference in 80 degrees in the
Well,
same
you're going to be
country?
in Fort Lauderdale in a couple days, Tom.
Yes, I am so looking forward.
I'll be there Friday as well.
Yeah, I'm coming in Friday night, so I probably won't be able to go to that. I think they normally do a little get meet and greet on that night, but I don't think I'm going to be in town for that. But I will see you on Saturday for sure.
Right.
Excited about that. Definitely am excited about that cruise. So, well, cool. Welcome D. Welcome Sabrina. I see Mike. I think my mom hopped on. Jody, thank you for hopping on tonight and today and learning. Just connected Derek with my mom yesterday with a rollover she needs to do here. She just turned. I won't say how old she is, I guess, but she just had a birthday and she just retired officially from the hospital. So that was we're having a celebration for her tonight. So we're happy about that. Phil's on here, Sean's on here, Melanie's, Sheree, Giovanna, Anita. All right, so I'm gonna kind of just get into it. I know people will just be hopping on over the next couple minutes here. And that's all good. Um, that's all good. No big deal. So we'll make this happen. We'll get the show on the road. All right, so let me get here on my screen and get slideshow play from start. All right, everybody, welcome to the Dealmaker community calls every month. We hop on here. Um, we have got, I think we're almost up to 20 new local Dealmaker clubs around the country, Jim. I'm excited about that. Starting to see some different things that are coming in with
I
our
think in the last month, Tom, we've had at least four because we had Portland, Southwest Florida, Central New Jersey. I mean, they're really rolling in. We got Southern New Jersey coming in next, and then another one in Pennsylvania, I think, soon after. So thank you guys for all of your support, your love, and your helping us grow.
Yeah, thank you guys for spreading the word. That's awesome. And you know what, you know what's really interesting to me, Jim, is like the quality of people
Yeah,
for stepping up and
I
saying,
agree.
I want to be a part of this. People that have already ran groups before, people that
Yeah,
are already pretty successful are saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. And to me,
yeah,
that's just super exciting to me.
I
Uh,
love it.
and it's really cool. So every month, if this is new to you guys, every month we do these calls, and it's just an extra way to be able to learn and connect with the group. Today's call is going to be a little bit different. Sometimes these are very teachy. But Derreck wants this to be as much roundtable and as many questions as you possibly can ask. So we're going to be talking about IRAs today. Just keep that in mind. Get those questions ready. Get that chat bar ready. Last month, Felipe, like he rocked it, didn't he, Jim? I mean, he was just a rock star. I didn't know him that well, and I'm like, wow, this guy's like
No, Dealmaker Texas has amazing people, and Felipe is one of them. And we also got Nosotros. I see Giovanna's on. It'll be our second Latino group is getting ready to start. This one in Dallas as well, and that it is great. I love it. Yes, I
oh, so
agree.
cool. I love it as well. And he honestly, this dude is a genius. If you guys didn't get to watch the last call, you guys can go to the website there and watch all of our last calls. But I promise you, the way he has his numbers dialed in, the way he thinks about a deal, where his story, where he came from, I promise you, it's worth going back and listening to. Today, we're going to talk about understanding self-directed IRAs, and probably also a little bit about what Heritage IRA can do and how they differentiating themselves. And I'm really excited for Derreck. I'm really good friends with Derreck. I love Derreck. I believe in him. And I'm excited. He's going to be at Dealmaker here next month. And he's also going to be at the Gary Dealmaker in September as well. And also, he's also going to be at a little note conference that I'm putting together with Andy Teasley here in Gary, Indiana, in May as well. So I'm excited about today's call. Myself, I've been pushing people to Heritage over the last couple months here, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say. Do want to kind of remind everybody about the Lowe's and Sherwin-Williams discounts. We are working right now with, I think Jim is working with Floors and More, which is a larger flooring company. And they're adding a discount for all of our Dealmaker members. And then,
Floor and Decor is the newest one. They're reaching out to everybody who's already signed up. Yes, Floor and
excellent.
Decor is the new one, but Lowe's and Sherwin-Williams and more.
Yes. We're working on insurance right now as well, trying to get you guys the best prices we can get you guys on everything. So I know that we're working on something. I think we actually already have something with Inspira, but we're also working with Derreck on something with Heritage as well. So we'll make that happen. Upcoming, I want to make sure if you guys don't have your tickets, you got to get them now. I know this is going to sell out. So and it's a big venue. So you guys are going to love Dealmaker 2025. March 26, 27, and 28. Mary Hart, who is actually our next speaker here on these community calls, is going to be the keynote speaker for that event. Jim, you just want to take a couple minutes and just talk about, like what to expect for that event if nobody's been?
I mean, it's coming right up. We got a lot of signups in the last 2 weeks. So if that's one of you guys that are on right now, thank you, thank you, thank you. I expect 300 plus people. I think it's going to be amazing. We got great sponsors, the best speakers, I think, in the country. It's an amazing culture of building your mindset and epic networking, and really a big mix. I mean, from note investing with Eddie Speed to some Jeff Watson, wealth building, Mary Hart, Jeffrey Taylor, Lindsay Jensen's going to speak on arbitrage and things like that. It's going to be amazing, Tom. It's going to be so good. We're going to do another one in October as well. So
Excellent.
look forward to
Well, we have
that.
the
That'll be in
September
Dallas.
one in Gary as well. So you guys got events all year long going for the Dealmaker community here. I love to just kind of just other people in our network try to promote their different events as well. So Landshark University, if me and Jim are actually going on a cruise, we're leaving Saturday with Investor Addicts. That's another person in our community. But Jerry Ricky and Sam Ricky in our community does this Landshark cruise. If you're interested in something like that, this is the information for that. And then also did want to kind of give a plug for Wendy Sweet and Sunrisers every Friday morning, guys, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central, if you guys are in the Central Time Zone. I know some people are out west, which is even earlier for you guys, for the super early bird risers out west there. But this is a Christian real estate group, and I cannot speak more highly of many people around the country than Wendy Sweet and the people that she brings in. I think Derek was actually on that call last Friday as well. But me and Jim frequent those calls. I try to jump on as often as I possibly can. But every one of these calls and every one of these things, guys, just keeps us connected. Gary Dealmaker, September 4, 5, and 6, right here in Gary, Indiana. Make sure you guys get your tickets for that as well. And then this is the last time I'm going to be able to talk about this, I believe. So I am doing a missions trip trying to raise about $30,000. Right now I'm at $24,000. So I got about a month left to raise about $6,000. And the last $5,000 I'm trying to raise is really trying to go to the missionary. So if that's something that God places on your heart, and if you think that that's something that you might want to help with, we do spend 3 days of fun stuff because it's their senior trip, and we also spend 3 days in ministry, ministering to the people. And we're going to Guatemala this year as well, so we're really excited about that. And actually, this is a very unique trip for us because this is the first we've been doing a lot of stuff with our community with Share the Love, and this is the first group that I know of that's going to be able to do something together. So Share the Love is actually going to be able to do a drop right in the middle of these kids' senior trip. And I think it'll be a great experience for the kids. I think it'll be a great experience for the church as well. So
We're going to see you in Guatemala.
yes, you will. So I'm excited about Jim's actually going on that trip, and I'm excited to have Jim see the ministry down there. I've been to this particular ministry 4 or 5 different times. I actually went to high school with the missionary there. He went to my high school. So anyways, if you guys are interested in that, you guys can click on the QR code. That takes you directly to our church's giving website, and the church will send you, it is a tax deduction, 501c3 charitable contribution. So if you guys are interested in that, this is the last time I'll hit that this year. Next month, Mary Hart is going to be talking about private lending, and she's our keynote speaker for the next month for Dealmaker there. So it's very appropriate. She'll be speaking on this call basically a week right before Dealmaker happens in Richmond. So you guys want to hop on for that as well and tell your friends and family about that as well. So without further ado, Derek, are you ready, sir? I'm going to stop sharing my screen and let you have it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Tom. And I'm super excited for next month's Dealmaker. I've been to that event since I think I do think I've been to it every single year, Jim, that you guys have hosted it.
Thank you.
Right?
You.
And it's always been a packed house. So if you guys haven't gotten your tickets, make sure you do, because I think every year you've sold out. So it's pretty impressive. Diving right on in, guys, we're going to start with a disclaimer, right? Is everything I'm going to talk about coming up right now is for your educational purposes. So I am the president and co-founder of Heritage IRA. It's a brand new self-directed IRA institution. So I've noticed there's a lot of bad information out there right now on self-directed IRAs, 401ks, Rob's accounts, etc. So what happened is, just behind the scenes of Heritage IRAs, I got to partner up with actually by far the smartest person in the self-directed IRA space. And most of us will think of John Heyer and Jeff Watson and Quincy Long, if you know those names out there, right? But all of them were trained by somebody, and his name's John Paul Ruiz, or JP. He's literally the one that writes the IRS revenue code and publications. Works directly with the Department of Labor and directly with the IRS on these topics. So what's unique is he's actually one of our partners in this Heritage IRA. So over the last about 6 months, I got to work with him very closely, and I've learned even myself more than I could ever imagine in this space. So what Heritage IRA goal, what our primary goal is, just to be the number one educator when it comes to retirement accounts. That's it. So for starters, I'm going to turn this over, all right, to you guys. I'm going to let you guys pick the topic. Do you guys want to talk about the basics, RMDs, checkbook control, solo 401ks, Roth IRAs, Roth conversions? What do you guys want to talk about? I'll do a quick brief intro of some slides just to kind of lay a foundation, and then I'm here to answer your questions. So what's unique about this is you guys have a chat box. Use the chat box right now. Otherwise, we're going to sit here and we're going to be really, really quiet.
Checkbook control.
Checkbook control. Someone yelled it. I love it. Well, then we'll start with checkbook control. Whoever said that actually looks like that was you, Matt. All right. Let's start with that one. Bam. First off, checkbook control is a marketing term. Okay. There is no such thing as checkbook control. And you'll hear a lot of the attorneys talk about it, right? But if we actually read the IRS court cases and things that seem to be kind of around it, they never use this term once. This term, checkbook control, is not inside the revenue code, the publications, or in any court case. So first off, I want you to realize that that term is just a marketing term that us as an industry utilize. Because of that, I can have two attorneys write two articles on checkbook control, and they're going to be drastically different, right? Because once again, it's going to be my point of view, all right? So ultimately, at a bare level, we're going to use the term as, hey, look, this is a way for your IRA to have direct access to the bank account without you going through the custodian. Now, when we go through these processes, the number one question is, well, who's the manager, who's not the manager? And we kind of dive into that, okay? So let's first lay out what it looks like. When we're looking to have checkbook control for an IRA only, all right, 401ks will be different. But for an IRA, your IRA, as you can see, has to set up an entity in the middle. Call it an LLC, call it a trust. Depending on who you talk to, they'll tell you different scenarios and what they like better. Then from there, the entity that you created can go do unlimited investing. The reason people like this is A, it's cheap on fees. Boy, is it cheap on fees, right? This is the best way to avoid paying IRA custodial fees at any level, all right? At any institution, at any company you're at. All the way from Equity Trust, probably the oldest self-directed IRA company, down to me, Heritage IRA, the newest IRA company, and everyone in between. Gives you a lot more control. You don't have to fill out forms like direction of investment forms or anything along those lines, or bi-direction letters. Gives you some more anonymity, and you can have multiple IRAs in this aspect. So notice, in this case, the IRA is the one creating or ultimately setting up this entity. So the IRA is not a real person, and I'm going to use the term LLC moving forward, but you can exchange this with a trust, okay? The IRA is labeled as the member. As a member, they're the owner. So who is the manager? Like, that is the big question. And this is where all the debate comes into play, right? Is the IRA is not a real person. The IRA is the owner. IRA is the member. Can I be the manager, or does someone else have to be the manager? And the reason we have so much debate on this topic comes directly from the IRS revenue codes. And if we think about for a minute the difference between an IRS revenue code and an IRS publication. An IRS publication says I can contribute $7,000 to my IRA. How much can I contribute? $7,000. No ands, ifs, buts about it. That is what you can. So there's no debating on that. Revenue code is a lot more vague. And this is typically in tax court where we see a lot of our court cases. So if we look at IRS Revenue Code 408, little a, there's a difference between the little a and the big A, right? It says that you have a fiduciary responsibility to your IRA to provide the best guidance possible. So if I'm my own manager to my IRA-owned LLC, I have a strong argument that says that I'm the best person to guide my IRA. However, if we read IRS Revenue Code 4975, Section C, subsection C, just to be specific, it says you can't provide services to your IRA. So when I'm the manager to my IRA-owned LLC, is that a service? Some attorneys say yes, and some attorneys say no. Notice we have two IRS revenue codes contradicting themselves. And this is why people get confused and they get all this bad information out there. So let's go ahead and figure it out, all right? And the way we do this is through court cases. What does the IRS say in a court case? And we only really have two to go off of. One is called Swanson versus Commissioner. This court case itself happened in the 1990s, almost 30 years ago. I would argue a lot of things have changed in the last 30 years in tax law. right? Knowing this, the court case, Swanson versus Commissioner, really wasn't about checkbook control at all. It wasn't about Swanson being the own manager. It actually had to deal with Swanson buying shares of a company from his IRA aspect. Okay. Now, if you would have did a 401k, it would have been fine. There would have been no debate on this. But on an IRA, this did create some problems. So it wasn't about checkbook control, but he had it in this case. The other one that you'll hear that's a lot more recent is the McNulty versus Commissioner case. Once again, this was not about checkbook control. This was actually about false reporting. The McNultys falsified their fair market values indirectly, and they were storing assets inappropriately, which created a problem. Now, they had checkbook control in this case, and the IRS wasn't a fan of it in this specific court case when you read the language because of the way they were operating. But ultimately, once again, that is not what they were going after. So the two court cases that we all have and we go through breaks down to you, the individual, right? And I always say, just remember, if this is what you're looking to do in checkbook control, right? Who is the manager, right? Ask yourself, what is your role in society before you decide on who is the manager, okay? And do you really need checkbook control? Or are you buying a semi truck and you need a Prius? So think about these aspects. So what we're going to do real quick is I'm going to talk about what is my role and how my account is personally set up, because I have checkbook control over my IRA. My IRA has established an LLC. And when I read those LLC documents, I have assigned a non-disqualified person to be my manager. So it is not me. Why? I'm an educator. I hold very specific license called a CISP license, all right, that focuses strictly on retirement education. I travel the country. I speak on stage. Also, I've spoken at Congress 8 times on retirement-related topics. I would argue that, guess what? If the IRS could throw the book at someone for holding their own checkbook, it would be me. So when you hear Jeff Watson, when you hear Jim Ingersoll, when you hear Quincy Long talk about these topics, many times what's happening is they're saying, look, from me, I should not be my own manager. Look at my position. Now ask yourself, who are you? Well, Derek, I'm a CPA. I'm a tax attorney. Probably shouldn't be your own manager. Hey, Derek, I'm a fix and flipper. I just own rentals, or I'm a real estate expert. Well, you're probably in a safer category to be your own manager. So the thing is I can't tell you if you can be your own manager or not. I can tell you heritage we allow for you to be. And I'm always going to hold the stance, though, like for me, Derek Long, I don't want to be my own manager. And that's why. So do you see where the confusion comes in with checkbook control? And Matt, I think you were the one that mentioned this. Does this help? And do you guys want to keep talking about this topic?
Well, I don't have an IRA right now, self-directed, but I'm hoping to start one soon. Checkbook control seems like the simplest thing,
It
because
can be.
I've been a part of like a small company 401k with equity trust, and I've done a couple small little loans with different IRAs, and it seems like there's a lot of BS that goes on that
No,
is
and there is.
unnecessary.
Yeah, and part of that comes down to just the custodian level, and do they have enough staff to support you? A. B, they get to charge you fees, right? As an institution, I make more money if you don't have checkbook control. I make way more money. Think about it. I charge you $100 every time you buy a brand new investment, $100. So if you have checkbook control, I can't charge my fees. So I'm going to be a lot more open to you not doing it. Probably never heard someone say it that way before. So, Darlene, I see that you raised your hand. Is it about this topic?
Yes, it is. Hey, Derek, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Darlene.
Currently,
Darlene.
I have a custodial-owned trust that I've been
Okay.
using for years. I
Love
do
it.
mortgage notes and stuff in there. In your opinion, as an educator, would you educate on that? Or is that kind of an area that, hey, don't try this at home unless you really know a lot about trust law? So what say you?
So the most common misconception, and Jim's going to be like, oh, damn, I fall into that category, right? is if we look back to the 90s, early 2000s, and when I say early 2000, I'm going to talk about 2012 and prior, okay? Trusts were pushed on the public a lot more than an LLC. Go ahead, Darlene.
No, I removed my hand, but I figured I
Oh,
needed it.
okay. So trusts were pushed on a lot of us real estate investors more because the IRS didn't look at them the same way as they did an LLC. All right. Nowadays, though, that's not really the case. As a matter of fact, a lot of times people establish trusts and they have issues even just finding a bank that will allow them to have a bank account with it. Right. Or they think that they're in a lower audit risk category, and really they're not anymore. Right. They don't provide the same level of anonymity as they used to. This really comes down to educating IRS auditors. By the way, I'm bringing in one of those guys that actually teaches the IRS auditors this Saturday. That's going to talk about what they look for. So if you guys want to take that class, it's completely free. But to me, it doesn't matter whether it's an LLC or trust. They're going to operate the exact same way, right? What you're really asking is, well, what state do I live in? In the state of Texas, a trust doesn't have to file on an annual basis. In California, it does. So a lot of times what you really want to be asking is, hey, do I need a trust or do I need an LLC? And I think to answer that question, you have to determine what are your investments, what state do you file in, and ultimately, which one's going to be easier for you to operate. I can't say that one is better than the other. It's going to be based on a situational aspect.
Yeah,
So,
great points. I'm in my home state is Michigan. I reside now in Florida. We don't report at all. So I liked it from that standpoint. There was a lot of anonymity and the portability. I just, I call my trustee. There is definitely that line of demarcation as to who's driving the bus on it. She clearly is the bus driver on it. She may even be on this call. So I liked it from that aspect. There weren't really any gray areas. The checkbook LLC was sort of something that was kind of scary for me. And again, I like flying under the radar, but I believe that both of them operate the same way.
And see, that works for you, right? And that might not work for the next person. And once again, I support both aspects. And I think that's the problem is too many times you see these people in other institutions, they take such a hard stance on one way or the other. And that's not the right answer. These are self-directed IRAs. You make the decision, not me. I'm here to educate you and hopefully help provide the right guidance.
This is a great discussion. It's so funny, Derek, because I remember those cruises 10 years ago. Jim was probably on those as well, when literally Quincy and John would fight over this. Like they literally would fight, say, this one's better. No, this one's better. And then it's kind of funny as time goes by, it kind of seems like it's really what you said. What can you make work and what can you stay within the boundaries of the rules yourself? Darlene she doesn't really even have checkbook control, but she does. Like if that makes sense.
Exactly. And that's why at the very beginning, checkbook control is a marketing term. Remember that, guys. Okay. So how Matt Swanson, owner directed IRA, okay, sells checkbook control and teaches it and stuff like that, right? He's going to teach it different than John Bowens, the owner of Equity Trust. Both of them very knowledgeable guys, been in the space for 20 plus years, both written books, both are very educated. And guess what? Quincy Long's going to fall in the middle. He's going to teach it a different way too. So remember, when we're thinking about this, make sure you're working with someone that's educated in all topics and they can work with you and hopefully help you come to a decision that fits your needs, right? Now, I did get a unique question on here I want to address is, and I hope I pronounce it right, but Suri, Mr. Gandala asks, does Heritage IRA support Rob's accounts? Yes, we do. We're actually, I think, the only self-directed IRA institution that does support Rob's accounts. And if you don't know what this is, it's where we take your retirement account and we allow you to invest in your own business. Oh, that's prohibited. Is it? Because this is a common misconception. And it's something that when we talk about from a self-directed IRA standpoint, that is a prohibited transaction. Taking my IRA and investing in my own business is 100% a prohibited transaction. However, switching gears, did you know we can use a 401k and allow a 401k to buy shares of our own business. This is very commonly done. They call it a rollover business startup, right? So what's nice is the only thing you need is for your 401k documents to have the proper language in there that allows for it to buy that type of employer stock. So that's a whole separate topic. But yes, Mr. Gandala, we do support Rob's accounts. So
not to go into too depth, Derek, I just want to ask if do you recommend using this Roth solo 401k or a traditional 401k for the Robs?
So it has to be, and either way, those are the same thing, okay? If you're reading or something like that out there that's different, now it's just a 401k. When we say the term 401k, that is actually what part of the IRS revenue code that retirement plan falls under. It's actually called a qualified retirement plan or a QRP, okay? Those are 401ks. Now, does the 401k document provider, in this case, your IRA administrator or IRA custodian, when they give you those 401k documents, does it allow for you to do a Rob's style account? Yes or no? So ours does, and we have ones that do not allow for, and we have ones that do. So I'm always, when we're looking at setting up someone a solo 401k or something along those lines, that's a whole conversation that we go through to make sure that you can qualify for that from that standpoint. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah.
Love it.
I could call your office and get more information about fees and how to set all that up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. So I'll put my email up here on the screen in just a little bit, and you can send me an email directly or just reach out to anyone on our staff as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Just one more question on the Robs. I kind of want to pull back a little bit, Derek, after this question, because I'm seeing people on this call. We so far right now, guys, we're talking about something that's pretty complex.
Absolutely.
So I do want to kind of pull us back a little bit and be like, okay, let's go back to the simple stuff. But before I do, I just have one question on the Robs, and this is kind of the first I'm kind of understanding exactly what Robs is. So I'm glad that I've heard this 30, 40 times over the last years, and it didn't make sense to me. So I'm like, forget it. A confused mind always says no. But so you can invest in shares of your own company. Can you also do things like loan money to your own company?
No, you cannot. Okay, so let's talk about the difference, okay, and the why and how it's structured. All right. And I don't give structuring advice, so don't take it from that standpoint. We're just going to talk about how Rob's accounts actually work.
Sure.
What it is my 401k is going to purchase shares of a company. All right. So let's just say I value my company at $100,000 and every share is $1. So my 401k is going to buy X amount of stock. Let's call it 50 grand worth. So now my company, my 401k has $50,000 worth of stock tied to the company that I just happen to be operating. Okay. This is why, too, most of the times a good attorney will typically tell you, hey, it's best to have this structured as a C corporation, right? And this is actually what Swanson kind of was going through. And this is why there's a lot of debate on Swanson versus commissioners. He used his IRA for it. He should have used a 401k, right? And so that is not a problem. The next thing is Derek, I thought that was prohibited. Well, if we look back at when we're talking about checkbook control, most people focus on the first half of the revenue code 4975, right? And the first half talks about all the things you can't do, provide services and lend and provide credit. But if we keep going and you keep reading, there's an exact section, and it's section D13, right? Says, hey, guess what? You can use your 401k and buy shares of your own institution. So that's really all it is. People put a lot of thought in what it looks like and what does it mean. No, it's my company buying company stock, or my 401k buying company stock. I just happen to be the one running that said company. That's all.
Awesome. Okay. So I think in your little 5 or 6 different, ideas back on your screen there, I think one of them was the basics. And I know that there's people on this call. I'm looking through the people that are here that really need to understand the basics. So I don't know if you could spend, at least 10, 15 minutes maybe.
Let's start here, Tom. I always like asking, what is a self-directed IRA?
Yeah.
We start there.
Boom. Love it. On the basic slide, all right? So a lot of people, and Tom and Jim are both correct, all right? If we're talking about the basics for a self-directed IRA, just like checkbook control, self-directed IRAs are fake. They're made up. They do not exist.
Well, they're great marketing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, Derek. The gift of an IRA came from Congress. I think it's the only great thing they've ever done.
Yeah. One of the things is we call it a self-directed IRA, guys, but all it means is that you're going to take your IRA and you're going to invest it, not a financial advisor, not your IRA custodian, not an IRA administrator. That's all it means. So if I Google right now, self-directed IRAs, where can I set one up? Fidelity pops up right at the top of Google, Fidelity. But guess what? Their self-directed IRAs only let you invest in stocks, bonds, CDs, mutual funds, because that's all their platform is set up to handle. Heritage IRA, our self-directed IRAs, only let you invest in what I'm going to call alternative assets, real estate, notes, syndications, oil and gas, something like that. It's not that one is better than the other, it's just different. So when we're Googling self-directed IRAs, remember that term is just a marketing term. So what does it really look like? Step one, all right, is we got to get you in an IRA set up. Right? It's that simple. Fill out an application, takes you about 5 minutes. It really does. Your IRA is considered its very own entity. Your IRA has its own name, its own address, its own tax ID number. This IRA even has its own level of asset protection. So let's say I wanted to buy a rental property. You as the investor go through all the same motions. You found a house, you make an offer, right? You work with your agent, the title company. You work with a bank if it's going to be debt leveraged. But when I read the buyer's name, it's not your name on the contract. It's your IRA's name. That's all that's changing. Since your IRA's name's on the contract, your IRA sends money in exchange for the title of the asset. I don't care what it is. This means that all profit doesn't go to you. It goes back to the IRA. This is all a self-directed IRA is. As the investor, you're not doing anything different, right? It's just what name did I put on that contract, put on that note, put on that subscription agreement. That's all. Now, behind the scenes, the IRS, they really don't care what you invest in. They give you a very short list. Hey, you can't invest in alcohol, collectibles, and life insurance, right? That's it. Outside of that, your IRA can invest in anything else out there, right? You just have to have a custodian or an administrator that allows for that. That means the administrator gets to charge you fees, right? We charge you $100 every time you're looking to buy a brand new asset. Muted myself just in time to sneeze. Look at that. Now, remember, if we're going to use a self-directed IRA, we got to remember, why do you want one? Okay. First off, should be diversification. If I look at your 401k, you probably feel like you're diversified, but it's all in public assets. Let's take some that move it to the private side or alternative assets. The biggest reason, though, should be tax savings. If I'm an investor and I do a fix and flip and I make $20,000, Derreck Long, personally do that fix and flip, I have to pay taxes on my profit. But did you know you can do that exact same investment using an IRA and avoid 100% of the taxation? That's why we want to see people use retirement accounts. Every class you take, every mastermind, every deal pitching event, every investment you've probably ever looked at can be done in an IRA, and you can avoid any taxes on the earnings. So that's the basic side of it. We want people to understand that when it comes to using an IRA, we can always use these to avoid taxation and do any investments you considered. So, what do people do with no earned income, just unearned income? I don't know what you mean by that. Roxanne, if you want to maybe just elaborate on that question a little bit more, maybe I can help.
Somebody was interested in the class, Derek. So they asked to please provide information on the class that you talked about this weekend or something like that.
Yeah, I'll just put up a little slide for it real quick. Hey guys, if you do want to set up an IRA, use the QR code on the left. All right, that just sets you up an IRA for free. But the QR code on the right, it's this Saturday Central Time, 10 a.m., is where we're bringing in literally the people that teach the IRS auditors. Now, I have to limit this class, and I'm limiting it to really 100 people. But we're going to allow up to 200 people to register, knowing that about half won't show. That's pretty typical. In this class, it is no PowerPoint. It is 100% Q&A. So this is your chance to ask the people that actually write this stuff the questions, write the answers. The guy that we're bringing on, JP or John Paul Ruiz, has not only certified every single self-directed IRA institution out there, okay? He's worked with all of us and trained all of us. If you look at, close your eyes and choose an IRA institution, that owner, that CEO, those vice presidents, everything, they hold what's called a CISP license. That license has been generated and created by the guy that I'm bringing in to do a Q&A with. So I can only book him for an hour. So you guys will really, really enjoy that class. So hope that helps there. See, explain. Okay, so I got questions on UBIT. We can talk about UBIT in just a minute. For how long are the taxes avoided? Forever? Great question. If we're using a self-directed IRA, right? When I say you avoid taxes, we avoid taxes today on the fix and flip, right? In our example. This means we can compound our money faster if I'm not paying taxes out of it. Now, knowing that, what type of retirement account do you have? If we have a pre-taxed retirement account, traditional IRAs, SEP IRAs, Roth or simple IRAs, right? 401ks, that money does grow tax deferred. What you're really doing is deferring taxes until you're older. But if we can do the same investment in a Roth IRA, it really is tax-free, not just for your life, but even tax-free for your heirs. So we do a whole class on just doing Roth conversions and making sure that you as an individual get those questions answered. So I hope that helps there. So are taxes paid before the money goes into an IRA or when you take the money out? Is there an age when you must take the money out? Yes. So when we're moving money into an IRA, Susan, most of the time it's coming from a previous 401k, 403b, TRS, TSP, something like that, right? There is zero taxes moving or anything along those lines when we go from that bucket to the traditional IRA. If you choose to do a Roth conversion, that's when you'll pay your taxes on the conversion side. So hope that helps. There is an age when you have to remove money, okay, if it's in a traditional IRA or one of those pre-tax buckets, right? What happens is that money is taxed, or the IRS forces you to pull it out starting at age 73 or 75 starting year 2030. So depending on what your current age is right now. The IRS says, hey, you're getting older. We allowed you to defer taxes, but we want our money. So they force you to pull it out. So that starts at either age 73 or 75. Okay, so Roxanne did do a follow-up question. She said, only income from rentals. My understanding is that to contribute to any of these IRAs, you have to have earned income when all income from rentals starts 401k, et cetera. You're right. So if you are looking to make a contribution from your own personal checking to an IRA, then you do need to have earned income. Do not confuse that, though, with earnings from an investment that your retirement account is currently doing. If my IRA or my 401k owns a rental, well, that income comes in, that is earnings from an investment, right? That is absolutely allowed to come in. What you can't do is make a personal contribution from your own checking if you don't have earned income. W-2, 1099, Schedule C. I hope that helps, Roxanne. Any other questions?
I got two more things here, Derek. I mean, I'd like for you to go and spend some time on 401k. So I know we're about, three quarters after. I'm not sure how much time you have, But I would like to hit three more things if you don't mind. And if Jim has something else, we can do something else. But I know there was a question about 401ks. So I'd like for you to hit that, that question. But then I would also like to know what makes Heritage different, and what can you provide for people? And then also if somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they want to move their retirement accounts or if they want to set up a new account with you,
Sure.
how can they do that? So if we could at least hit those before the end of this call.
Yeah, so we'll start off what makes Heritage different real quick. And so first off, my email and phone number are on the screen. You can email me or call that phone number. That is a non-automated line that goes to all of our employees, and then we pick up the phone. Whoever gets it, right? If you want to schedule a consultation with me personally, just use my email, reach out to me, and I will absolutely help you in that aspect and sit down with you one-on-one. I don't mind. Okay? Heritage IRA, though, we are a brand new institution. Brand new. We launched January 7th. And what's funny is I didn't actually want to launch a self-directed IRA institution. I really didn't. I was asked to multiple times, and it just didn't make sense for me. Officially, though, once Quest was closed down, I had so many people reach out to me. It was one of those things where I was like, you know what? Let's do it. We're going to go forth and we're going to do it. And that was really it. So our goal at Heritage is really to be the number one educators in this space. And I hope this call kind of proves that. Not just me, but anyone on our staff is going through the same training directly with the Department of Labor, the IRS and stuff, so we can give you guys proper education. I'd argue that's what sets us apart. It really is. Because we're brand new as an institution, we're going to make mistakes, guys. I promise you we're going to make some mistakes. But what's nice is we're here to rectify it. That's why we have things like the non-automated line. All emails are responded to before the end of the day. Every one of our employees knows that you're not allowed to clock out until 100% of your emails are done up to a certain point in time. You email them at midnight, you're not going to get a response, okay? Till the next day. But that's what we're bringing to the table. It's not just the education, but also the ability to sit here and answer your questions. So I hope that helps from that standpoint. That's what we're here to focus on. I tell people, take a chance. Let us help you. Let us work with you on an individual basis. And I think that's what people need, right? That's really it from there. So, Tom, you said you wanted me to talk about something else because I keep getting a lot of other questions.
Yeah, 401ks. I also for some reason, I thought there was some extra unique ways that people work with Heritage versus how other operators work from the custodian level.
So that really comes down to the 401k side, right?
That's only 401ks. That's not even IRAs where they have their own account.
That's right. So on the solo 401k side. Oh, and actually, you know what? What's funny is every self-directed IRA institution out there, except for one, and that's us, has what we call an omnibus account. All right. IRA custodians make money in two different ways. One, they make money by charging you fees, but they also make money on your funds that are just sitting. Right? Now, on the money that is just sitting, most IRA institutions now have the ability to go out and invest your money in CDs, bonds, etc. Right? So we make money on the fees and money on your funds that are just sitting. The problem is the money that's just sitting, what happens if your institution invests it inappropriately? They get in trouble. They get closed down, right? And I think we saw a lot of that happen in the last year. As a matter of fact, we saw 6 self-directed IRA institutions get shut down.
Wow.
It sucks. So you know what we did as an institution? We gave up our omnibus account. I wanted to show and tell people, look, we will never have the ability to invest your money and take that risk, right? We are 100% a fee-based custodian. I would argue that's one of those things that really separates us out, is that since I don't have the ability to invest your money in CDs and bonds and stuff and make money for ourselves, we are solely a fee-based institution. This means I don't make any money until I process your investment. I don't make any money until we get your account fully established. So we want to go through these processes as fast as possible. And remember, We're teaching the proper ways to do checkbook control, going through both options. And I would make more money by charging you fees, but we want to be the best educators out there. I think that's why word's spreading so quickly. So it's pretty impressive.
What does that mean for the consumer? What does that mean for the IRA holder? Can you just explain that? Because I don't think I understand it, but I'm not sure everybody on this call is going to understand that.
Safety. Okay. That's it. So not only do you already have FDIC insurance on there, but you don't have to worry about an institution being closed down due to them being what is legally called out of covenants, right? I mean, if I take all the liquid cash we have sitting, right, and that cash gets invested into a CD at 3% because of the interest rates, and suddenly interest rates go up, so now our CD is only worth 2%, we actually technically just lost a bunch of money, right? So that means we are out of covenant. And we as an institution have to come up with that in that difference. We gave up that ability to do so because we felt that it was safer for every other client out there. And we're the only institution that gave up the omnibus account. Fee-based only, baby.
So what does that mean, though, for speed of transactions?
Oh, dude, we're in fund investments the same day, if not by the following day, 48 hours, but it's same because I don't get paid until after I fund your deal. So I'm in the same boat as you. How fast do you think I want to get that investment funded? Right? I don't get paid till after your investment is funded. So it's in my best interest to fund your investment as fast as possible. So
Good. Now, Susan asks, are your fees only the $100 on each transaction also, or do you take a percentage of money invested?
Nope. So as a matter of fact, we made our fee schedule the easiest one out there to understand because we only have 4 fees in total. That's it, 4. It's $50 to establish a self-directed IRA, okay? If you're coming from any of the deal maker teams, we will waive your IRA fees 100%. That is not just for this call. This is as long as you're part of deal makers, right? We're waiving your application fees. So ignoring the application fee, it is $100 to buy an investment, $300 a year to hold that said investment. And the only other fee is a wire fee of $35 if we have to wire money out. ACHs are free. That is all the fees. I got rid of option 1 and option 2 and blah, nope, got rid of all of that. We wanted to make sure our clients could fully understand. It's $100 to buy an investment, $300 a year to hold it.
Derek, do you have a, sorry to interrupt, do you have a slide to show the schedule of fees?
I don't. I could probably make one, but that was it. $100 to buy an investment, $300 a year to hold it, $30 or $35 to send a wire. So pretty straightforward on the IRAs. So
$50 setup, $100 for investment, $300 a year, $35 wire.
That's it. There is no conversion fees, no statement fees, no F&B fees, that is, when I say that is it, like our fee schedule is, boop, there you go.
I'm going to just one more, I'm going to hit on here, and then I want you to go back to 401ks. That'll be kind of more of the higher level thing for everybody. So in case if you have to jump off at the top of the hour and miss that's fine. But I know there's some people on here that really want to talk about the 401ks. And I know you have some unique propositions on the 401ks as well. But what does that process look like? So let's just say I have a bunch of accounts right now with a different custodian.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get all my stuff set up with Heritage. Can I just call you and everything automatically gets transferred? Is this going to take a while? What if I already have investments that are set up in the other company?
Yeah.
Just kind of go through that with us real quick for everybody on the call.
Sure. So what we actually did is we made it really simple on our clients, okay? Is when it comes to cash, I can't force an institution to send us cash any fashion they're going to. As an example, if you have money sitting with Inspira, right? The cash itself, I am going to have you fill out a transfer form with us. We're going to request that cash. And it could take anywhere from 1 day to 30 days. And that's not an exaggeration, right? But when it comes to the assets, if you get me the proper investment documents showing that you are updating the investment from and I'm going to use Inspira as an example, but it could really be any institution. But it probably says Quest Trust Company, FBO, your name, IRA 12345 did this investment. Now it's moving to Heritage IRA, right? You get me that investment documents, we can do the transfer in the same day, meaning those assets are automatically added to your account. The following day, you can receive payments. The reason that we structured it this way is when you sign up for an IRA with us, we give you a separate 5305 document from the IRS. And on there, we're acknowledging that we're going to take control of those assets from that standpoint. So what's nice is you acknowledge it, we acknowledge it, meaning the same day I can accept those assets and you can start getting payments. So assets are actually faster than cash, the transfer.
That's very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
basically, the
go ahead.
process just looks like, we just get with you, you make us fill out the forms, and then that's all we have to do on our end. And then we'll start seeing things like the assets will go right to your, do you have a portal yet?
Yes.
Or?
Yep.
Okay.
Our clients have a full online portal, just like any other institution. I feel like most companies have some sort of online portal, So, yep, you have a full online portal. You can log in and check your account, your balances, all that good stuff, any assets that are in there. But on the 401k side, we have some extra things that are added to your portal, which are really unique too. So
perfect. All right. There's two questions here I want to get to, and then we can talk about 401ks. What regulatory agency monitors your organization?
Department of Labor, right? And this holds true not just for me, okay, but every self-directed IRA institution. If we just go from the top, right, it goes to the Department of Labor, which oversees a bunch of other aspects. One of them is ERISA, right? And ERISA pretty much oversees the retirement aspect, which that means that we're indirectly regulated by the Department of Labor. Now, remember, our license is held in South Dakota. So we're also regulated by the South Dakota banking commissions from that standpoint. So I hope that helps, Susan.
And then the other question is, will you be setting up some kind of a family gold plan of any sort or any kind?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went over the $300 for your assets, but if you end up hitting $3,000 a year in fees, we just move you to the Gold Family Plan, which covers you and up to 10 different accounts for yourself as well under one flat fee schedule of $3,000 a year. That also gives you a specialized treatment where you're going to have an assigned retirement expert that will work with you for every single transaction with you and your family. And the reason this is important, it gives you the ability to build rapport with someone throughout the years. So.
And if you're in any business, customer service and that person that you can go to is a big deal. So I think that's a cool thing. Jim, anything else you want to hit? I know Kevin wanted to talk about 401ks. So we're at the top of the hour. So if you wanted to, if anybody else has any other questions, we can get to that. 401ks are probably a little bit more complicated as well. But we can get into that discussion for a little bit more if you have time, Derek.
Yeah. So I actually have a big meeting coming up at 11:30. So I have about 30 more minutes. All right. And I'll say 20 more minutes because I gotta log off and get prepped for the next meeting. Believe it or not, what if I told you it was with HGTV?
Nice.
Kind of neat. So that'd be kind of cool. But if you guys do want to have just a listen more and hear from those people at that level, the Department of Labor and IRS, the ones that write the revenue code, I'm going to encourage all of you to sign up for this class over here this coming Saturday. Once we hit 200 people, as far as the registration goes, we have to cut it off. This is because I can't have 200 people in there asking questions. So we are limiting it. So make sure you get registered if you want to sign up. If you want an IRA, use the other QR code. You'll see it takes 4 or 5 minutes to fill out an application and bam, you'll have it set up. On the 401k side, right? Switching gears real quick. All of you out there probably should have never set up a self-directed IRA. Every single one of you. I'd say more than 90% of you should have set up a solo 401k instead. Do you know why you didn't? Because as an institution, other institutions, and this includes Quest and Equity Trust and everyone else, and Directed IRA and NewView, I don't care where, iPlan, all of them, right? They didn't have the proper education on solo 401ks. We didn't, not at the time. They're also very complicated in the aspect of tax reporting, bookkeeping. More than 95% of CPAs out there didn't know how to do the tax reporting. Do you remember who my partners are?
JP.
There we go. So because of that reason, we have developed one of the most unique 401k aspects out there. And here's the thing is when you choose to set up a solo 401k, first off, you can put yourself and your entire family under one plan. One plan. You can make contributions up to $153,000 a year, right? Which I think is just super unique, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about it, right? And first off, they follow the same rules and regulations as an IRA does for the most part, all right? And notice we call it a one participant plan. But when we say one participant, right, people don't understand what that participant means. It means it's under really a employer, right? So who is that employer? Well, it's me. I'm the employer. Who else is an owner of my business? Do I want to label my wife as an owner? If so, she can participate. Do I want to label my kids as an owner? Then they can participate. And suddenly, you can have a 401k with you, your wife, and your kids all in the same plan, right, under one aspect, and all have different Roth buckets and pre-tax buckets and everything else. So this is why I love to talk about the contributions first. Notice we can actually contribute up to that $153,000. I love that. Knowing this, you choose when making this contribution. Do you want to take that as a tax deduction? Or do you want to put it all in your Roth despite your income limit? I make too much money to qualify for a Roth. Nope, not in a solo 401k. Notice we can use a solo 401k and contribute so much more money. But that's just not it. You can also lend yourself money. I've seen people set up solo 401ks to pay for mastermind programs, right? They use the retirement account and lend themselves 50 grand to cover that mastermind program, to buy a new car, to buy their first investment outside of their retirement account so they can make money today. You're allowed to do, remember, I can't do that in an IRA. That's prohibited, right? You're disqualified from there, right? Zero taxation on this loan, by the way. The IRS gives you 5 years to pay it back. Okay. The interest on the loan is paid to yourself, and you can use the money for anything you can imagine. So 401ks are huge in that advantage. But that's not it. Someone mentioned, Derek, can you talk about UBIT? Well, UBIT applies when your IRA borrows money or is running a business. Well, what's nice is when the 401k does one of these investments, it's actually exempt. Not from UBIT, but from a subsection called UDFI. So the 401k, right, can actually do so many more investments and be exempt from all those taxes and stuff that you get scared of when you hear the term UBIT, right? So overall, the 401k has a big, big advantage. There's even one bigger aspect too. So I told you early on, almost no CPAs know how to do the bookkeeping, record keeping, or the tax reporting. For those of you who know John Heyer, if you want him to do your 5,500 form for your 401k, he charges $5 grand. We do it for you for free. That's unique. We give you all the tools, the software, the ability to do 100% of the tax reporting through a TurboTax style program. You answer yes, no to a handful of questions and plop, there's your tax forms. Because you're going through us, we have the bookkeeping, the record keeping behind the scenes. So we can generate those tax forms and you don't have to pay any additional money to a CPA. That's the best thing out there. It really is. 401ks are in relative too cheap compared to the IRAs. Notice on the IRA side, a gold family plan for up to 10 accounts is $3,000. For the 401k, it's a flat fee for $1,500. And at Deal Maker, we actually knock off $250, so $1,250. So $1,250 for your 401k. and you can be in it, your kids can be in it, your wife can be in it, your participants, right? Your spouse, it doesn't matter, all under one fee plan. So the 401k comes with its own checkbook control. It comes with so much more than just the IRA side. So if you qualify for it, right, you absolutely should be having a 401k. So
If you
I
have
really
a
think that
401, if you have a current 401k or 403b, can you convert to a 401k?
yeah, that's not a problem. That's very simple. It's actually probably one of the most common ways to fund it. Right? We roll over that 457, 403b, that old 401k, something like that, into the solo 401k. Very common. It's not even reported to the IRS.
All right, so we got 2 more questions, and then if anybody else has questions, we'll be done. But 2 more questions.
I've got one as well, so
Yeah,
go
so,
ahead, take these.
Ken is asking if Saturday is going to be recorded. It's funny, as we were on this call, I actually signed up for it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get on that boat a little bit late and maybe just watch it in my hotel room. It's okay. Nobody really gets together before 1 o'clock, anyways. So we'll see, or maybe I can just watch it on my phone while I'm in the Uber or something. But anyway, so that's the first question: is will that call be recorded on Saturday? And then
So it will be. We will release the recording afterwards, as long as you signed up for the class. Okay.
So Ken, you might, if you want to watch that, then that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just listen to I already signed up, so I'll get that. So basically, if you sign up, they'll have your email and they'll send that out to you, it sounds like.
Yep.
And then the second question before Jim's question is, Ken asks, if you flip a home in your IRA, how many can you flip a year and not have UBIT come in? And then obviously there is probably a question here, Ken, back to you. Is this in an IRA or a 401k? Because I think the answer is different.
Nope. It's not different, believe it or not.
Okay.
So when we're flipping properties, the debate between attorneys comes down to, hey, when flipping houses, when is it considered running a business? We have zero case law on this. All right. So if I talk to Jeff Watson, he'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably it. If I talk to Matt Swanson, he'll say 50 to 100. All right. Doesn't matter. Right. Because, and the way he relates to it, it says, look, can I buy and trade stocks in my IRA? Absolutely can. How many can I do every single day? Ultimately, it's just labeled an asset. So I don't have an answer for you, right? I have zero case law that states it brings on UBIT. The scare is, though, could I make an argument, all right, that, look, you as an investor, you're flipping properties outside of your IRA and you're flipping properties inside of your IRA. Now, I can make a much stronger argument that you, the individual, are running a business. So the problem is, most of the time, people, when you ask that question, it's so vague. I need to know a lot more about you. And then even once I know everything, I still can't give you a proper answer. I have 2 high-end attorneys, both familiar in the space, that give me drastically different answers. Why? The IRS revenue code doesn't state how many you can do. It doesn't state whether it's going to bring on UBIT or not. Everything I just mentioned is speculation. Okay? So I'm going to tell you it's really risk versus reward. So I hope that helps. You know, what's the risk involved? You owe taxes on some investments that you made. What's
Derek,
the
isn't
reward?
that the essence of the where we started, being your own manager?
Love it. That is
Because
exactly.
like you just went full circle with that, because that's a discussion on risk as well. Because I would prefer to be my own manager because I trust myself more than I trust anybody else.
Exactly. You know?
However, there is some risk to that. But I also know people that have had a manager who had their funds stolen.
Yep.
So, I believe me, I've seen both sides of that balance. And I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
Derek, I had a question for you on solo 401k. What's the downside of solo 401k if you're going to get started? Is it that you got to pay tax in the year that you make the contribution? Is that the only downside?
Nope. I won't even say that. I think the biggest downside is almost everyone on this call has a Roth IRA.
Yep.
Okay. You cannot roll a Roth IRA into a solo 401k. We can roll a traditional IRA, a SEP IRA, a simple IRA, another 401k. For every other plan out there, we can move into a solo 401k, but we can't move a Roth. That's the
I wish
biggest.
they would allow that to happen, don't you?
Well, so in 2022, we actually proposed that, all right, under the Secure Act 2.0. That portion didn't pass, but it's still sitting there at the Congress level.
Yeah.
So is it going to pass anytime soon? Probably not. But the fact that it's still sitting there, we like to bring it up to them as often as possible. Like, hey,
Now, the other downside, Derek, really is the bookkeeping side, right? But you guys have like mastered that.
we have. Yeah. So on the bookkeeping and record keeping side, and this is where it comes down to the education, is we used to tell people, hey, look, if you're going to have a 401k and if you call any other institution out there, here's what they do. They sell you plan documents and they say, good luck. Go figure it out. We don't do that at Heritage. What we do is we actually have created the proper bookkeeping and record keeping software that will also generate the tax forms for you to eliminate that risk. And I think that's what people need is people. And once again, early on, this was not available by people, even like myself, by saying, hey, look, 401ks are great, but there's a lot of risk behind the scenes. The risk comes down to the bookkeeping, record keeping, and finding a CPA that can do the tax forms. Well, if I can eliminate each one of those, the 401k is actually a better option. It really is.
And so, and you can do a Roth solo.
Yep, you can do a Roth.
And the upside is, 70,000 plus in contributions, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which is a great way to juice your IRA.
Oh, yeah.
But you've got to qualify with active income. You cannot have employees. What are the qualifiers again?
Yeah, so let's talk about that because this is a common misconception. I even heard an attorney mention it the other day, and they were completely wrong, and I had to correct them on it, right? They said, well, before you set up a solo 401k, you have to be self-employed, have a company, and pay yourself. That's not true. You have to have the intent to pay yourself within the first 3 years. So, as an example, I'm a brand new investor. I just signed up for a mastermind. I say, you know what? Here's what I want to do is over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, I'm going to be a wholesaler, a fix and flipper, right? I'm going to buy rentals. I'm looking at these investments. You qualify for a solo 401k. But Derek, I haven't made any money yet. That doesn't matter. What is your intent? My intent is to start a business. My business is real estate. Now, over the next 3 years, if you do not show a profit and pay yourself from your business, you do have to close the 401k down and move it into an IRA. So how do I qualify? You have a company, you pay yourself, right? W-2, 1099, something like that. You make actual income, And that's the thing is people are confused on what that means. And it's the intent to pay yourself. Now, notice a lot of times we start a business and we're not profitable in year one. Why not? Because I had to shell out a whole bunch of money. That's okay. What about year 2? What about year 3? And eventually we do start to show profit. So that's how you qualify. Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah, and Sri made a good point. So he said, the caveat is the employer contribution is limited to 25% of gross, which means you are paying quite a lot in FICA and payroll charges.
Absolutely. So
that was my point earlier, but he said it better.
So when we're talking about who's contributing to the 401k, right? And I'll give you guys a quick glimpse of what our 401k bookkeeping and tax reporting program looks like, right? We give you an actual calculator. This way you don't have to bug your CPA. Let's just assume you paid yourself $100,000 this year, right? And we're going to assume that you're 50 years old. Now, notice I have a couple of different contributions up here. If I'm looking at the $18,000 contribution, this amount is coming from the employer. You are the employer, right? So the employer chooses, is this pre-taxed, taking tax deductions, or is this post-tax, putting it in a Roth? Notice the other bucket is you, the employee, right? As an employee, I make the same distinction. Do I want to take a $23,000 tax deduction, or do I want to put that all in my Roth? Now, when we add up all these figures, we get our total balance that we can contribute for the year. Notice if I only paid myself 10 grand Okay. You would think you just subtracted 0. That's not actually correct. Right? Because there is a lot of calculations going to go on with FICA and Social Security. We already have it calculated for you. I've already done all the work. No one else out there can do that. And that's why I'm so proud to launch Heritage IRA from this standpoint and show people what we can actually do for you, the investor. And so I love to give this example because if we talk to the average person, remember at 100 grand, you would assume, oh, well, all I do is just say instead of 49,000, it's 4,900. Nope. Notice at 10 grand, I can actually contribute almost 90% of my check, more than 90% of my check. So it's unique when we think about those aspects. So
Good. It's good. Very good.
yeah. I only got about 4 or 5 more minutes, guys. So I do want to just, real quick before we kind of start to close things out, right? Is I appreciate Tom, you, Jim, you guys. When I was launching Heritage IRA, I called both Jim and Tom, and I remember asking you guys for advice, right? Asking you guys for guidance. And I think that's one of the things that both of you have really brought to the table over the last 10 to 15 years. And I've known you guys since about 2016. So almost 10 years now, right? And what's unique about that is you guys don't get the credit necessarily you deserve. You really, really don't. And so not just to me, but how many people do you guys think both of you guys have mentored out there? And it could just even be a simple phone call, right? Just combined. If you had to guess, I'm willing to bet it's thousands, maybe even 10,000. Am I underselling that? So I appreciate you guys not only having me on, but just over the last 10 years working with me and helping me out. I've ran investments by you, Jim. Tom, I've talked to you about lending money, right? I've gone to every dealmaker convention there is because it's where I get the best education. So your guys' dealmaker events in Virginia coming up. It's March 27th, 28th. Is that correct?
26, 27, and 28.
26th, 27th, and 28th.
I got a question.
Yeah.
If I was going to make one deal maker between the Richmond and the Tampa one, which is the better one to go to?
Oh, Matt. The next one's actually going to be in Dallas in October. It's not far from you, Derek. But here's the thing: like the one in March is more, it's larger and it's a bigger mix of topics. The other one we do every year is more private capital related and really heavy duty private lending. So take your pick. Do you want sort of the mix of education with the largest crowd, or do you want a more focused approach to lending?
And then mine in September is very similar to the national.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot wider. With like 120 people and not 400 people.
Right.
I like the Virginia one, and I'm sorry, I'm probably a little biased, but it's because of the energy that it brings to the table.
It is great energy.
It's when you go to a room of 400 real estate investors, and you guys wait. It's one of the best things I love about it is kind of the way it's structured. Is Jim's gonna give you, hey, this is our schedule. And then you start going on the schedule, and it's like, well, you know what? We're getting a lot of great questions on topic A or topic B. Because we're getting all these great questions, right? We're going to spend an extra 5 or 10 minutes here, and that's what the audience needs, and I love that education aspect. So, boom.
It'd be good. And like the one in Dallas is really close to lockdown. I mean, it is super close. Oh, yeah. I wanted to come out west. I think it'll be easier for our people on the West Coast to come. I think there's so many direct flights, so many good reasons. I love it. Yes. No matter where somebody's at, there's dealmaker meetups popping up all over the country. So stay tuned to those as well. We have like 3 of them just in Texas now and 3 in New Jersey. So they're popping up.
And Dallas was the October one, you said, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So you've got March in Richmond and you've got Gary in September. and you've got October in Dallas.
And Tom, there's actually more than that happening.
Yeah, there's more and more happening.
Because like Dealmaker Dallas with Felipe is doing an Alaska cruise next summer.
There you go.
So Dealmaker is going to Alaska again. I think all of us have been there together. And so just hold on to your hat because stuff's really popping fast.
Yep.
In a good way, in a good way. And believe me, I'm really grateful for everyone. Tom, thank you so much for your help on these Zooms. Cheryl and I were talking about you this morning. I mean, seriously. You guys are helping me so much. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you, Derek, for investing in our community today. Thank you for all of the information. I do, in a way, I apologize because self-directed IRAs and self-directed accounts, there's too much to learn in an hour. Really, it takes time. You need to show up to all of the meetings that you can possibly show up, talk to the people that are doing the deals, and then really you learn so much more by doing than you do even by listening and trying to learn. So let me just encourage everybody, hop on those, go to Derreck's website, get signed up for an account. The first thing you need to do is sign up for an account. So make that happen. Appreciate you, Derreck, for everything you do. And then I want to just remind everybody about next month's call, March 18th, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Mary Hart will be talking specifically about private lending. So other than
Hey, I
that,
apologize. I derailed the call right at the beginning.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we appreciate your feedback. Derek loves the interaction, so do I.
absolutely.
I'm highly interactive individual.
I get bored of PowerPoints.
I love interaction.
So,
So
Hey,
thanks
me
for
too. I can't sit and watch them.
so
Well, like I said, thank you for everybody for being on the call. You are what makes the community great. It's not just the speakers, it's not just Jim, it's not just me, it's not just the other leaders, but you are the people that really make the community the community. So appreciate every single one of you. Hope you guys all have a great day. For all you guys that are going on the cruise, I can't wait to see you guys on Saturday. But we'll see you guys next month.
I'll see you in Fort Lauderdale, Tom.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.